السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله وصحبه ومن والاه وبعد. We are finished with Surah number 66, which was Surah At-Tahrim, and today inshallah we are starting from the beginning of Surah Al-Mulk. This is part number 29 out of 30 parts. The Quran is divided into 30 parts. All are as long as each other, and it is divided also into 114 surah. So 66 surah, which we have finished, constitute 28 out of 30 parts. So that's the longest part of the Quran. And with Surah 67, we begin in part number 29. This surah is the surah of Al-Mulk. Al-Mulk is the name of the surah, and the translation of it is the dominion. The dominion refers to all the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So in Surah Al-Mulk, the surah starts off with, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful. And then the first ayah is, blessed is he in whose hand is the dominion, and he is capable over everything. You see, when you receive a letter and I am your secretary, and you ask me, did we get any mail today? And I tell you, yes, we got a mail from, and I give you the source of where the mail came from. And when you find that the message, the mail, the envelope that we got is from someone very important, you don't tell me, put it on the side, or wait for tomorrow, or I will look it up later on. You say, please bring it, bring it. This is a new potential contractor. He's gonna buy $1 million worth of our products. What is this example for? It is an example not to compare, but to illustrate the fact that the importance we place on a message is always relevant to the source of the message. Like when you get a message or a letter from the company in which you have put $10 million investment, do you want to open that message after 10 days to see what your money is doing in the stock market? Or do you want to open it right away? I hope you're getting the point. Here is Allah telling us, in the name of Allah, the most beneficent, the most merciful, blessed is he in whose hands is the dominion. Everything there is to own is all his. This is where this message is coming from. This is where the Quran came from. It is something really amazing to consider that the message, the Quran we are reading today, has been sent by Allah. Whom is he talking to? He's talking to all humans. He is talking to all of us. In the Quran, Allah calls on all people saying, Ya ayyuhan nas, O mankind. He even calls on the disbelievers, saying, O you who do not believe. O you who do not believe. Can you believe Allah sent the Quran, and in the Quran are messages for the believers, for the disbeliever, for the people of the book, for those who worship idols, for those who associate gods with Allah, for men, for women, for the young, for the old. Everybody gets this honorable, sacred, divine message directly from Allah. So how important do you think this message is? Is there anyone who has knowledge as much as Allah? Is there anyone who has wisdom? Anyone who has wisdom similar to Allah's wisdom, or even comparable? None. So we can certainly say, without being bragging, that the Quran is the ultimate, most important message ever that mankind will ever have received. Okay, so blessed is the one in whose hand is the dominion. The whole universe is in his hand, and we cannot make example of his hand, because we cannot make or present our hand as exempling his. This would make us polytheists, comparing Allah to his creation. So Allah, before he introduces the message in this surah, he introduces who is sending the message. And then it says, and he is capable over everything. He can do all things, because everything is easy for him. Everything is his creation. So this is an introduction to who is sending the message. And then furthermore, in ayah number 2, he will continue, Allah, to expand his definition of himself. He's going to tell us more about himself. And he's going to tell us that he is the one who created death and life. Why? He says, to test you, which of you is best in action. who is best in deeds. And he is the mighty one, the Almighty, and he is the oft forgiving, which means Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to know that he is capable over everything. He has created death and life. And since he has created death and life, this captures everything that he has created. So he created living things, and he also created inanimate things, things that are not living, like the earth, the stones, the mountains. They are not living. They don't have soul. They don't have spirit. They don't eat. They don't need food. But much deeper than this, he is not here saying that I created the living and the dead, or the dead and the living. He created death itself and life itself. Just imagine who's talking and what is he talking about. A question arises here. Why does the ayah mention death before life? Because in our reality as humans, we think that because we start our life with coming out of the womb of our mothers, breathing and screaming and maybe crying. So we think that this is the beginning of our life. But Allah is saying that death is the beginning of every living thing. So our life started from death. And to further illustrate this, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala tells us in the Quran, O mankind, if you have any doubt about your resurrection, rest assured, we have created you from dust. Excuse me, I have to blow my nose. I'm sorry. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is telling us that He has created death and life with one single purpose: to test us, who's better in deed. So as if Allah is telling us in this statement, we started from a dead material. He created us from dust. Adam, our father, was created from dust. Is dust a living thing? No, dust is not a living thing. But when Allah sends water from heaven on the dust, it can turn into grass, green, forests. And that's why the Quran says, and we have made from water every living thing. So we started from dust, and this dust was mixed with water to create the mud, which also the Quran says that we are created from mud. And then the Quran says, ثُمَّ مِن نُطْفَةٍ, then from a fertilized egg. Everyone after Adam and Eve, they come from a fertilized egg. But the beginning started from dead material, which is dust. Plants grow from dust. Everything started from Allah telling it be, and it is. From dead material, He created everything. And the structure, the physiology of this ayah, the physiology of this ayah intends to tell us, since we started from a dead material, that then Allah gave it life. It also points to the fact that after this life, when we die again, Allah can return back us all to a life that is different than the one we have today. You see how amazing the Quran is. You see how informative and focused, with very clear message in every single ayah, almost in every single word, there is a specific message. Because every word and every letter in the Quran expresses a very specific meaning. So, who is best indeed also points us to the fact that if this life offers us a chance to compete, then where is the competition? The competition is for us, for each one of us to show Allah the best we have. This is where the competition is. And the competition is not in areas that we tend to focus on, because we did not create ourselves. What does this mean? What does it have with competition? It has everything to do with competition. The areas we tend to focus on is who looks best. We judge each other mostly on appearance. Who dresses the best? Who dresses the most expensive clothing? Who's driving the most expensive cars? Who has the maximum amount of money and wealth? None of this is of our making. These are shapes, tongues, and colors and faculties that we have no hand in creating. Sheikh, do you say that even our wealth we did not create? Of course. what we call our wealth is only provisions given to us by Allah. Do you think that only Elon Musk is a genius? There are so many geniuses, but Allah did not give them the same wealth. So it's all up to Allah. So to define the competition in the form of our action and who's better and who's best in action, who's best in decision making, who's best in offering a great human model for others, who's best in their commitment to Allah, their commitment to values and ethics. This is where the competition is. The competition is not in the makeup. The competition is not how much colors we put on our face or our skin. The competition is not between black and white. The competition is between our hearts, what we believe in, and what we value, and what do we use our resources for? What do we live for? What is our mission in life? How do we handle ourselves? This is where the competition is. So Allah defines for us, أيكم أحسن عملا. Which one among you is better in action? So when we read this, it gives us a very focused orientation what this life is for and what we should be competing with each other for. We should be competing to please Allah, to show Allah, not to show people, not to prove ourselves to people, not to attract people's views about us, not to collect likes and thumbs up and all of those signals, not to collect reviews and stamps or stars like kids. Our competition is to reach up to Allah, to accept what we do, and to forgive whatever wrong we're doing. This is the competition. We are not here to prove ourselves to each other, but we must be good to each other. We must excel in competition. We must be winners. And that is true in every aspect of life. Some Muslims unfortunately believe that the competition is only over who's praying and who's not, or who is in the first line and who came a minute later on in the lines of prayer. Yes, those are areas of competition, and we must compete in them, but competition does not stop around prayer or around charity or around volunteering or even around teaching knowledge. or spending money or funding places or philanthropy. Competition is all of the above, but the Quran is focusing on who is better in deed, in action. And then the commentary on the ayah is, He is the Almighty, which means He is almighty. He has all the powers under His disposal, under His control. So He does not only create the universe and leave it or ignore it or leave it for others to destroy. No, He is in control and He has the power over everything, and He will execute His will no matter what. So keep your competitions among yourself. Don't compete with Allah. Don't try to tell Allah there is a better way to do this. Oh Allah, there's a better way to manage the family. You could have made men and women both able to carry children and give birth and breastfeed and go to work and do home chores. Don't redevise the universe. You are here as one minute creature. You are nothing in the large scheme of things when it comes to the creation of Allah. Compare yourself to a mountain and compare yourself and the mountain to a desert, and then compare the desert to all other deserts, and then compare the earth to billions and billions of earths like it, and then compare the galaxy in which we live to billions of galaxies. What are we talking about? It's humbling when Allah says that He is the Almighty. It should be very humbling. Okay. So Allah says, and He is the Almighty, the oft forgiving, which is a way to tell us, I recognize your weaknesses. I recognize your forgetfulness. I recognize your frailty. I recognize your poor judgment. I recognize that your faculties are limited, but they are more than enough for your life here. You don't need any more than that. Where does it say this? It says Allah is oft forgiving, which means He recognizes that we are prone to make mistakes. We are sinful, flawed creatures. So He is opening His gates of mercy, saying, I am the Almighty. I am the oft forgiving, which means don't despair. Put your effort in competing with others to show me your best qualities, the best of what I have put inside you, the best of your faith, the best of your knowledge, the best of your words, the best of your energy, the best of your money, the best of your time, the best of your resources. Imagine if every one of us is really showing Allah our best. How much trouble could we be in? How much difficult would life be? Nothing would be difficult. So this is why the message of the Quran, the message of Allah to us, is very important. You see, in few words, He has told us how He created us, what He created us from, what this life is about, what is our mission, where is our competition, who is Allah, and what does Allah promise us. 7 points in 2 sentences. Amazing, amazing. And each point takes books to explain and to put it to practice. Ayah number 3, the one who created 7 heavens on top of each other, one above another. 7 heavens on top of each other. Amazing, amazing. It says then, do you see any fault in the creations of the most beneficent? Do you see any flaw? Did the sun fail to rise in any day? No, it did not. It always rises on time. Did you see the day and the night confused? They always come on time. Did you see the moon or the earth out of orbit? Near crashes, near miss experiences? None. Everything is where it belongs exactly. Astronomers say if the earth were 1 inch closer to the sun, many areas of the earth would have burned. And if it were away in its orbit from the sun 1 inch, many places would have frozen much more than what we actually have. You see the reality testifies to what I just said. You look at and around the equator, it is the highest temperature because the sun is vertically on that area, focused with its heat and rays. So the area of the equator and around is the hottest. And the areas on the North Pole and the South Pole are always frozen because the sun does not become vertical on the top and the bottom part of the poles. Now imagine if the earth is closer 1 inch, the two poles would melt immediately and the equator area will be on fire. All the forests will be on fire. All the grasses, all the plants, all the animals, all the humans. So when Allah says, you do not see any flaw in the creation of the most beneficent, He is telling us, I challenge you to find one flaw. You think of yourself as intelligent, scientists, discoverer, experimental geniuses, Nobel Prize winners, British laureate, Arab laureates. Show me one flaw in the creation of heavens or in any of the creations of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Everything is made for a mission, and everything's creation is made fit for what it was created for. The snake crawls on its tummy. Birds fly with two wings. Animals walk on four. The kangaroo walks on four or two. And humans walk on two. Everyone is made for something different. Some animals are given power over others. And by their wild nature, their food is provided through their hunting of weaker or smaller animals or creatures in general. Plants feed on the water and the minerals they suck from the earth. Without water, plants will die. Subhanallah, nothing of the creation of Allah has a single flaw. When you compare the power, the resources, and the faculties they are given, and the needs they need to survive. Then it says, so look up again, meaning to heaven. Look up again. Do you see any rifts between the structure of the heaven above you? 7 heavens above you? Do you know what? We cannot even capture the concept of heaven above us. That concept, we cannot capture it. Let alone that we examine the heaven, the first heaven, let alone the second or the seventh. We have about 12 minutes left. I would like to give you a chance to ask questions. And as you are thinking about your questions, I'm going to go over ayah number 4. Okay? Ayah number 4, it says, look up again and again, and your sight will return back to you in a state of humiliation, and it will be worn out. It will be humbled. When you look at the sky and you see how the sky looks from the beginning of sunrise all throughout sunset, and you see what goes on in the sky, how many things you see flying between the earth and the sky. How many birds, how many insects, how many tree leaves are carried in the air. You can't even see the air. And you can see bacteria or germs or viruses that the air is carrying. You need a microscope, electronic microscope that is, and you barely see it. So Allah is saying, return your sight up to heaven, not just once, but twice or more. It will turn back down to you in humility and worn out. You get tired. And in the night, you will see the sky, the first heaven, ornamented and adorned with lamps or lamp-like creatures. Like you look at the stars, a huge star that is maybe 1,000,000 times as big as our sun looks like a dot, a white dot in the darkness of the night. And to get there, you need to fly in the space millions upon millions of miles, and you will not get to another star. We are barely discovering some of the planets in our solar system. What a minute thing, considering the fact that there are billions, maybe billions of solar systems and billions of galaxies. The star you may see in the sky might have dimmed and even died and disappeared millions of light years ago. And what you're seeing is just the effect of it before it had disappeared. You know that in the sky, there are vacuums that suck planets and debris from the universe, so that the universe is not full of litters, is not full of trash. They call it, astronomers call it, black holes. It's black because they see it dark. They cannot see inside it. And it's holes because every dying planet or star they are sucked into this vacuum machine that sucks every debris, every meteoroid in the sky that does not travel to another planet or does not travel to another star. They are all sucked in that black hole. So even beyond the creations that we are unable to get close, let alone see, let alone examine, there are black holes, not just one, in that space structure, maybe in between galaxies. What does it do? It sucks debris and everything else. I'm sorry. So we have to really be humble. So ayah number 5, it talks about this. It says, and we indeed have adorned the nearest heaven with lamps or lamp-like creatures, and we have made such lamps as missiles to drive away the shaitan, the devils, and we have prepared for the devils the torment of the blazing fire. And for those who disbelieve in their Lord, they have nothing but the torment of hell. And what a worst destination this is. I took your question time, but I can take one question for now if you have any. If not, we'll stop here, and inshallah we'll see you next week. Any question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam.
Okay, so humans and angels and the devils. Okay, so God made each one of them differently. Now, humans are made from dust. Angels are made from what? You know, I would like to know, please. What are angels made from?
They are made of light. And the jinns, they are made of fire.
Okay.
Any more creatures interest you?
Okay, and what are the shayateen made from? I'm sorry, what did you say? The devils, what are they made from?
Well,
Fire as well?
devils are two types. Devils could be in the form of jinnis who rebel against Allah, or humans who disbelieve and rebel against Allah. So the Quran speaks of human devils and jinni devils.
Oh, I see. And both are made from the fire?
No, the jinni devils are made of fire. The humans who act like devils are described as devils in the Quran. But they are humans, so they are made of dust. They are all children of Adam.
Okay, okay, I understand. Wow. I'm just surprised. When when you're talking about how, Allah is very powerful and what he created and, what each of his creation is made from, subhanallah, is just amazing.
It is
Amazing.
amazing. It
And I
is.
have one more question. If we read the Quran, should we do wudu first? And, so if we don't have wudu, we should not read the Quran. Is that correct?
Well, if you want to read for ibadah, scholars of Islam have said that you need to cleanse yourself. So you cannot run from the bathroom without washing your hands and to run to the Quran. When you want to touch the Quran, you need to make wudu, because wudu makes you ready for prayer. And when we read the Quran itself has verses that carry prayers, supplications. Okay? So you are better off making wudu for reading the Quran. But if you are studying the Quran, like tafsir or attending a class or memorizing, you don't have to have wudu. But if you are doing recitation as a form of worship, then you want to make wudu. And of course, if a sister is going through her monthly cycle, she should not read the Quran from the written copy of the Quran, but they can read from what they memorize. And of course, they cannot pray until the monthly cycle is over.
Okay.
Okay?
But can you touch the Quran without wudu? That's okay if you just touch it, like you grab it, hold it in your hands. You don't need to have wudu, correct?
If there is a need for that, yes. But if there is no need, you do not touch it without wudu, as I mentioned, unless, like for example, a child or an adult who is in a class and the teacher is teaching them Quran and he's telling them, open your books. If your wudu breaks, then you don't need to leave the class. You can continue.
Okay. No, can we listen to Quran recitation without wudu?
Yes, you can. Even a woman during her cycle, she can listen to the Quran or recite from memorization.
Okay, but while you're listening, if you just happen to break your wudu, is
It
okay.
does.
You can keep
Yes, it
listening
is
to it.
okay. It is okay.
Okay, yes, thank you very much for answering my question. I
Sure,
appreciate it.
sure.
And Assalamu alaikum. Thank you very much. And Sheikh, there is a question that's typed that says, what is a human devil?
It is a human who acts like the devil. He encourages people to do evil. They do evil. They don't do any good. They are more inclined to promote evil, animosity, wickedness, selfishness, harm, corruption, destruction. because those are behaviors inspired by the devil. The word devil is used metaphorically for a human who acts like devils. I hope this is clear.
Yes, I understand.
Okay, very much. Thank you. Okay, inshallah, we'll see you next week. And we will be with ayah number 6. No, ayah number 7. Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.